So here's today's question. How do you paint a bathroom? Well, there's no better way to learn than from a professional. So I've got an awesome surprise for you today. Chris Berry, the Idaho painter, is going to show you all of his tips and tricks on how to paint a bathroom quickly, efficiently, and professionally. So I'm partnering with Chris on this video. You're going to love it. He does awesome YouTube videos. You can check him out over on YouTube at the Idaho Painter. But let's dive into his tutorial right now.
This is Chris, the Idaho Painter. Glad to be here on the Home Repair Tutor to give you 5 tips and tricks to painting a bathroom to make it look just like a professional painter did it. So stay tuned for this video. So I'm here in this small bathroom right here, and painting a bathroom doesn't have to be this really long drawn out process where it takes a day or multiple days to do. A bathroom like this can easily be done in just a couple hours. But one of the key elements to painting a bathroom and making it look like a professional painter did it is actually have tools that a professional painter would have. And I'm going to give you a list of the tools and some of the items that you're going to need to get this project done. So this is tip number 1 when it comes to painting a bathroom, and that's actually having a paintbrush and a paint roller that's actually going to give you quality results. And if you try to save money and go cheap on a paintbrush and a roller, you're just not going to get those straight cut in lines. You're not going to get the quality finish on the walls, and it's just going to take you a lot longer to apply the paint. I typically, when I'm painting interiors, I like using an interior brush that's a 3-inch angled sash brush. I like a wider brush because I can paint a lot faster with it. A good quality brush is going to give you nice, crisp, clean cut-in lines. It's going to hold a lot more paint, and you're going to be able to go a lot farther, so you're going to paint a lot faster with it. The brush that I typically use on interiors when I'm painting interior walls and doing cut-ins, I like a Purdy brush. It's called a clear cut brush, and this is the actual brush I use. The brush is really good for doing cut-ins. It's really good for doing the layouts on your walls and edges. Doesn't leave a whole lot of roping. It's an excellent brush. The next thing is your roller. You've got to have a good quality roller, and when I'm rolling the walls, I use a 3/8 inch nap. That's the depth of the roller. So I use a 3/8 inch nap, and I like the white woven rollers from Purdy. Now if you go cheap on a roller, the first thing you'll notice is you start rolling on the walls, it leaves lint on the walls, which just doesn't look good. The lint, that's actually the stuff, the fuzzy stuff on the rollers. So cheap rollers leave the lint on. Cheap rollers will have a tendency to splatter, so you're going to get a lot more mess on your floors. Use a high quality roller and you're not going to get a lot less splatters, or almost none. The rollers we use, I use a Purdy White Dove white woven roller, and that roller is excellent. It hardly ever leaves any amount of splatters, and it also holds more paint and lays the paint out a lot better, and it doesn't leave very much stippling. A cheap roller or cheap nap is going to stipple your walls really bad, and you're not going to get that good quality finish. So the tip number 1 is buy a good quality paintbrush and a good quality roller. But now you got your tools all gathered together, you got to get your good quality paint for a bathroom, depending on the condition of your bathroom, whether it has moisture issues or not. You definitely want to look into paint. Jeff is going to be doing a video on my channel of how to select a paint for a bathroom. So if you want to come check out Jeff's video on my channel, The Idaho Painter, you can also come check it out. Can't wait to see his video on selecting bathroom paints. So tip number 2, I got all my tools gathered together. Tip number 1 was buying a good quality paintbrush, good quality roller. Tip number 2 is buying a high quality tape. And the best tape that I've ever found for doing my cut-ins in around edges, around door jambs, around my baseboards, on my trim, the best tape I found is frog tape. You want to get a tape that the paint's not going to bleed through to give you edges where the paint's bleeding through on your trim. Frog tape is the very best. I've used every tape out there on the market. There's nothing better than frog tape, but I also use clear caulking along my frog tape, which will actually give you just laser straight lines on all your trim, around your door jambs, your baseboards, window trim, around stuff like your showers and bathtubs and stuff like that. So tip number 2 is get yourself frog tape. I don't use anything but just 1-inch frog tape. I do get a lot of questions too about how I go about using the frog tape and clear caulking. I do have a video that explains that in depth too. It's a really good video on how to use caulking and frog tape to make laser straight lines on a wall, like if you're painting a stripe or something like that, so you can check that out later too. But we're gonna move on to tip number 3 now. So tip number 3 is actually getting into the managing of this project and actually getting it done in 2 hours. And tip number 3 is once you get all your masking done, you wanna get a first coat on these walls, so this first coat will begin drying. And that first coat, you don't want it to be heavy like you're trying to cover it in one coat. Typically when we're painting and rolling interior walls, we always figure on putting 2 coats, and our first coat is what we call a skim coat. So we're going to roll on here a light coat on there, enough to just get a nice good thin coat on the walls, and then that will dry in about 30 minutes. So tip number 4 is part of the next process. We've rolled our first coat on the walls. That's tip number 3. Get that first coat on there, a skim coat. Get that stuff on there nice and thin so it will dry fast. Turn on your fan. That will suck out some of the extra moisture in your bathroom that the paint is actually creating, because the humidity is actually going to slow down the dry time. Crank up the temperature in your house. Get it up to about 75 degrees. That will help it dry fast. But tip number 4 is actually doing your ceiling cut-ins. Now I'm going to go around and do my ceiling cut-ins, and I'm going to do them and try to do my ceiling cut-ins so they will cover in one coat. So I'm going to put them on there pretty heavy. I'm going to cut in, and then I'm going to back roll it with my roller, my 4-inch roller that's in my bucket. Get those all done. It's a small bathroom. I can do the cut-ins in here in about 15 minutes, and then I'm going to move on to the next process. Now I'm going to move on to tip number 5. This is the last tip, and this is doing your cut-ins and rolling your final coat. So you've done your ceiling cut-ins now, and now we're going to want to move down to doing your cut-ins along all your trim, wherever your 1-inch tape is. You're going to cut all that in and then roll your second coat over the top of where those overlapping those edges, so you're keeping a wet edge. You're going to roll all that, and then you're going to pull off your masking. So I'm going to run around, put my clear caulking on all my tape, then I'm going to cut my cut-ins in with my paint, and then I'm going to go back and roll the walls and fill in the walls. So the process is going to be, I'm going to run my clear caulking all around all my edges. That'll only take about 5 minutes or less. Then I'm going to do my cut-ins with my brush and my roller around all these edges, which will probably take me about 10 minutes to do the cut-ins, 10-15 minutes. And then I'm going to begin rolling my second coat on my walls. And the second coat's going to happen really fast in here. There's not a lot of walls. It'll probably take another 10 minutes, and then I'm going to just pull off all my tape. You want to make sure you pull off that tape before the paint or the caulking dries. The caulking is going to dry slower than tape because it's underneath, or slower than the paint because it's underneath the paint, which is, you'll put a wet film over the top of the caulking. So then once you've rolled the final coat on the walls, you're going to immediately go back, pull all that tape off, then let your walls dry, let all your cut-ins dry. Then you'll just go back. Typically on your cut-ins, because you're trying to do those one coat, you might have some light spots. I just go back, do all those touch-ups on my cut-ins. Usually the walls, there's going to be nothing more you have to do the walls, because you got 2 coats on the walls and your project's all done. Check it out once it's all dry. It should look like a professional painter just did it. Once again, if that caulking process, what I've explained here, if it's a little bit difficult or a little confusing, go check out my channel, The Idaho Painter. I do have a video explaining in depth this the caulking and taping process and exactly how you go about doing it. But it's a very important process if you really want those laser straight lines. If you've ever wondered how a painter got laser straight lines on all of his trim and stuff, that's exactly one of the tips and tricks out there that a lot of do-it-yourselfers don't know about. So there you have it. There's 5 tips and tricks on painting a bathroom and getting that done in a reasonable amount of time. Shouldn't take you a whole day. Should just, if you're a first timer, a bathroom like this, you can literally get it done in less than a half a day. Should take you 2 to 3 hours. Hopefully these tips and tricks will help you. If you don't know how to properly roll a wall or do a cut-in, I got a lot of videos on that'll teach you how to cut in just like a professional painter will. I've got probably 5 or 6 videos. Even got a video with a GoPro hooked up to a paintbrush so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Also got videos on how to properly roll and lay out a wall that's going to make your finish look a lot better. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I'm glad to be here on the Home Repair Tutor. If you haven't subscribed to Jeff's channel, please subscribe to his channel. Consider going over to my channel, The Idaho Painter, and check out some of my videos. I got all kinds of videos on painting, interior and exterior painting, and home improvement tips and tricks. Hopefully we'll see you on my channel or see you back here on Jeff's.